American trucks, the dream on wheels. Watching an American truck has always been quite a spectacle. Tons of chrome, massive size, timeless beauty of classic shapes. It might seem there isn't much left to learn about these heavy supermachines. But if you've never followed the evolution of American trucks, everything you're about to see will be a revelation. Overseas, there are no limits on the length of a highway tractor, no bans on wild ideas, nothing to hold back the imagination of a trucker. This is the American dream, the best job in the world, as drivers across the ocean build themselves palaces on wheels. The early days of the sleeper cab. People started thinking about driver rest as early as the beginning of the 20th century, as soon as trucks became capable of covering long distances, staying durable, and not falling apart. The need for a place to sleep on the road began to grow, but there weren't enough hotels or campsites, and a driver needed somewhere to rest his head after a long haul. The idea came quickly. Bring a bed along. Sleeping spaces in trucks of that era ended up in all sorts of places. In a 1917 Packard truck, for example, the so-called sleeper was tucked into a separate niche behind the cab. In a 1920 truck from the same company, the resting spot was placed above the cab. By the 1930s, trucks occasionally appeared where the driver could lie down behind the seats. But designers' imaginations went much further. To avoid lengthening the cab itself, some trucking companies built sleeping spaces right into the semi-trailer. Original, but things got even more interesting.
For trucks that had absolutely no room inside the cab, builders came up with little birdhouse-like boxes, first mounted on top and later attached to the semi-trailer. The catch was that after a hard day's work, climbing into one of these required being something of an acrobat. One particularly comical solution offered rest in a niche under the seats that looked more like, forgive the comparison, a coffin. But the abuse of the working man didn't stop there. For small cabs, various tuning shops of the time began selling separate sleeper modules that were installed behind the standard cab, and that was actually a fairly decent option. Some truckers were offered a canvas contraption that could be unfolded during a stop, creating a small nook for rest. The search for a better layout continued.
A rather interesting truck appeared in the 1950s from the Corbett Company. The seats folded flat and turned into a bed, and to make more room, designers had to build a hump at the front, resulting in an unusually tall truck that was awkward to climb into. Even so, rest after a hard day's work mattered a great deal, and by then, decent rear sleeper layouts had started appearing occasionally in factory cabs. The experiments never stopped. An interesting monster from the Ward Company came out with a sleeper version that looked like this. Whether it was easy to climb into, history doesn't say, and it doesn't tell us how comfortable that upper compartment was to rest in either. All of it was in the name of saving cargo volume, and of course, many drivers weren't happy with that. In India, cab building has long been a do-it-yourself affair.
In that country, it's common practice to buy a bare chassis, no cab, no body, simply because it's cheaper. And local tuning shops then build absolutely any cab the customer wants, and the results are worth seeing. For many years, drivers made do however they could, both in Europe and America. Every trucker wanted to make his life on the road as comfortable and easy as possible. Eventually, manufacturers themselves finally started paying attention to driver comfort. Everyone wanted more space, more comfort. But there was one serious problem. Bigger interiors meant longer trucks. And while in Europe the total length of a truck and trailer combination was strictly capped at 16.5 meters, across the ocean, the story unfolded very differently. While Europe's narrow streets made maneuvering difficult and kept truck lengths limited, America, with its vast distances, wide highways, and spacious cities, was a completely different story. There, the length of a rig was capped at 20 meters, and even under those, by comparison, generous conditions, American manufacturers still had to design cab-over trucks. I'd even say truly epic ones. No other country built anything like them. The Kenworth K1, the International Harvester Transtar, the Mack F series. The list goes on. These trucks are stunning to look at, especially with their enormous sleepers. Take the Kenworth K1's day version, simply breathtaking inside and out. Where else could you stand fully upright inside a sleeper cab? The abundance of leather and wood inside puts this truck among the most luxurious highway tractors in the world. This was 1976 in the US, where relatively generous length limits gave truckers a completely different kind of life. That very truck, by the way, appeared in the movie Universal Soldier. The monstrous tractor built for that film was based on a Kenworth. Truck equipment was already at a very high level in those years. Take the cult classic Convoy, showcasing a gorgeous cab-over rig. Its driver goes by the nickname Pink Dream. Asked why, he explains, color, TV, a quadraphonic sound system, and, you'll never guess, an electrically heated mattress. But the development of living modules in America was only just beginning. In 1976, a genuine revolution hit the trucking world. The maximum length of a rig grew from 20 to 23 meters. And by the 80s, American law went even further, limiting only the length of the trailer, while the truck itself could be any length it wanted. What happened after that, I'll tell you now. While European trucks were going down the path of taller cabs, Americans could grow their usable space both upward and lengthwise. Straight from the factory, trucks started rolling out with genuinely spacious sleeper compartments. Removing the length restrictions gave conventional hood trucks a real edge. Much easier access to the engine, since moving the motor forward eliminated the need for a tall engine tunnel inside the cab, allowing for even taller cabins. Climbing height dropped too, and safety improved. As drivers like to put it, having a full 2 meters of crumple zone up front matters. Conventional trucks of that era looked simply magnificent. Chrome everywhere, fuel tanks, side steps, protruding exhaust stacks, exterior air filters, and all kinds of interior lighting. The cabins were just as striking. Leather, wood, and chrome in a comfortable sleeper with everything you could need. It was all bold and eye-catching. American designers of that era clearly knew their craft, whether in passenger cars or heavy trucks. Everything turned out beautifully. Those were the standard factory trucks of the 70s and 80s. But over the following decades, the industry kept evolving by leaps and bounds. Trucking as a whole is a vast, sprawling culture that never stops moving forward. Today, even a stock truck straight from the factory comes loaded with extra equipment, much of which customers can choose themselves. Many models already come standard with a fridge, a TV, a solid sound system, and quality interior trim. And for anyone who wants more, welcome to the enormous world of truck tuning. America lets everyone express themselves and be part of something bigger. And that's exactly what I mean when I talk about festivals and shows where people come to show off their rigs and check out everyone else's. All across the US, a wide variety of competitions take place regularly. Things like drag races with fully loaded trucks, or heavy trailer tug-of-war contests, and flashy, high-speed exhibition runs. Countless tuning festivals and shows also take place, where you might even run into something like a twin-engine Peterbilt 359 with two coupled engines producing 3,500 horsepower combined.
Life is anything but boring for these guys. Truck tuning in America is incredibly well developed. Everything you could need to customize your rig is sold in shops, at campgrounds, literally right at truck stops. The modifications never stop. Drivers fit larger diameter wheels, install custom exhaust stacks, sun visors, fenders, mud flaps, bumpers with lift mechanisms. Inside, it's all about unique steering wheels, shift levers, extra gauges, all in polished metal. The whole truck, cab included, gets lit up with every kind of light imaginable. Some of these truckers genuinely drive these show-worthy rigs for work. They're not just display pieces, they're real working machines. Factory highway trucks typically put out around 500 to 600 horsepower from their powerful diesels. But with an engine like the Caterpillar, simply swapping the turbo can easily push output up to 800 horsepower. Remember the now iconic movie Black Dog? Its hero, driving a Peterbilt 379, delivers the line, "This engine is the best." Not far from the truth. It's a genuinely great film showing the working life of American truckers. As the saying in the movie goes, if he doesn't slow down, he's done for. Some truckers stretch the frame of their trucks, not just because it looks more striking, but so they can fit a truly massive sleeper. That's where the full epic scale of the American truck really comes into its own. Let's get into some examples. In 2007, a monster was built on the base of a cab-over Freightliner Argosy with a two-story sleeper. The living compartment stretches 7.5 meters. It has everything you'd need for comfortable, self-sufficient living. A bathroom, shower, a full kitchen with a huge fridge, a dining area, and an upstairs lounge with a home theater and a top-tier sound system. And of course, a massive queen-size bed. The company Twin Custom Coach built this one, a single, one-of-a-kind unit, a true exclusive. The only truck in the world with a two-story sleeper. But that's high-tech territory. Real American truckers, the classics, tend to go for conventional, hooded trucks, the traditional look. And what they do to them is honestly hard to wrap your head around. So what does a successful American trucker do? A solid sum of money in hand, buys a truck, and straight to a tuning shop. And that's what magic is. As standard, it usually includes a full kitchen with a dining room, plus a shower and bathroom, of course. The bare minimum is a flat-screen TV with a genuinely large bed. Increasingly, buyers add a powerful multimedia system and a game console on top of that. The interior gets finished in leather and wood, and for special clients, even marble flooring. Naturally, there's climate control with an independent generator and even a barbecue grill. But what you really don't expect is a dedicated compartment for a motorcycle. Because after a hard day's work, why not take a ride to the store at sunset? Sleepers like this are typically ordered by married couples or by truckers who are used to not denying themselves anything. All this luxury means they never need a hotel. They can cook real home meals instead of eating at questionable roadside diners. And all of it doesn't come cheap. A good truck alone runs about $150,000, and a custom sleeper adds roughly the same amount again. But experienced American truckers are far from poor, earning $10,000, $15,000, even $25,000 a month is simply normal for a true professional.
It's remarkable how different vehicles can be from one continent to another. Every corner of the world has its own preferences, laws, habits, and conventions. Some drivers value maneuverability and fuel efficiency. Others prize comfort, space, and the beauty of a classic shape. In America, trucks with 1960s style design are still manufactured today, and who could honestly say they aren't magnificent? With no electronic speed limiter and no restrictions on size, they will always stand as timeless classics, a symbol of an entire continent and the enduring dream of every trucker. These are fantastic machines, true working heroes. And it's trucks like these that built America.